Welcome to another video on corporate governance. In the previous video, we discussed the meaning of corporate governance and the main actors in the governance of a corporation. In this video, we will discuss the basics of corporate structure and briefly, the roles and responsibilities of boards of directors. As discussed in the previous video, companies are made up of investments from shareholders in the form of share capital, which gives them a stake in the business. These shareholder could also include a legal entity. These are referred to as owners of a corporation. These investments are put in the care of managers or agents who help generate returns in form of dividends to shareholders. Due to the issue of the separation of ownership and control, the shareholders appoint a group of people to monitor managers so that they always act in their best interest. These are the board of directors. These are the main actors in a corporate structure. These are the shareholders, management team, and the board of directors. The roles and responsibilities of these actors are defined primarily by corporate governance codes put in place by the government and the corporation's charter and bylaws. This implies that all corporations or companies are subject to government oversight. The management team. The top management team refers to executives, including the chief executive officer, that is, the CEO. The responsibility of these managers are to run the day-to-day operations of the corporation. They also identify and manage corporate risks. As for the shareholders, they are groups of people, organizations, or individuals who invest in the corporation for an expected return. As previously discussed, the shareholders are the ones who appoint the board of directors who protect their interests. For the board of directors, they are responsible for setting strategic goals and putting policies in place for the management to achieve these goals. The board is also responsible for monitoring the performance of the management team, ensuring that they act in the best interest of the shareholders while carrying out their fiduciary responsibilities. Within the board, there are different committees set up to accomplish this task. Examples of such committees include the nominating committee, remuneration committee, the audit committee, and so on. These committees recommend policies to the board of directors. For example, the audit committee carries out the financial and internal audit function. The remuneration committee is responsible for remuneration packages of board members, while the nomination committee recommends members who sit on the corporate board. It is also worth noting that the board of directors are responsible for appointing members of the management team. Furthermore, on the boards of directors, depending on the country, there are two types of board structures. These are unitary boards, also known as single-tier boards, and dual boards, also known as two-tier boards. Unitary boards are mostly adopted in countries such as the UK and Sweden, while dual boards are used in countries such as Germany and the Netherlands. In unitary boards, the board of directors and the management sit on the same board. The groups of corporate governance actors are required to work cohesively to achieve corporate goals. The roles of these management and the board of directors in this setting are blurred. As for the dual board, the management board or team, and the board of directors sit on separate boards. The responsibilities of both groups are clearly defined in this setting. Where the board of directors oversee the management while handling the long-term strategic planning and decision-making, the management board executes these plans while running the business. Considering these types of board structures, the roles and responsibilities of the board of directors can be summarized into two, which are conformance and performance. Both roles require the board to carry out inward and outward-looking responsibilities. The conformance role of the board requires accountability in monitoring management internally and protecting the interests of all stakeholders externally. As for the performance role of the board, this entails the leadership role of the board in setting strategy, which is outward-looking, and putting in place policies for the management to help execute this strategy within the organization. So what have you learned so far? We identified the main actors of a corporation. These include the shareholders, the top management team, and the board of directors. Where the shareholders refer to investors who invest in a corporation, the management act on behalf of the shareholders in putting these investment to work, acting in the interest of shareholders to generate returns for their investment. Due to this separation of roles, shareholders appoint the board of directors to monitor the activities and decisions of the management. This is to ensure that they act in their best interest. We now discussed more on the board of directors and their responsibilities. We identified two types of board structures, which are unitary boards where the management and the board of directors sit on the same board with blurred roles, and the dual boards where the management and the board of directors sit on different board with clearly defined roles. As for the role of the board, this was summed up into conformance and performance roles of the board. Where conformance refers to the accountability role of the board, performance refers to the leadership role of the board of directors. That will be all for this video, and thank you for watching. Please look forward to more videos on corporate governance. So, see you in the next one.